Good morning. It is Sunday, May 24th. Still Memorial Day weekend. Getting all kinds of chores done. So, that's my 500 watt turbine that came down in the last big storm. Was real damn lucky that it didn't take on any serious damage. Tail got a little ding, and really like the main part of the tail. This is pretty tough steel here. This is 16 gauge, 16 or 14. I think it was 16 gauge. This held up real well. This is a little thinner. This was 18 or 20. And then I just got little L brackets on there with aluminum rivets. So I'll drill them rivets, rip this stabilizer right off of there, dust it off. It's still pretty damn straight. If anything, there's a little curve in it downwards. So when I get this off, maybe I can pull that bottom out a little bit. But otherwise, I think it's pretty much good to go back up in the air. I inspected all my rings, inspected all my bolts, blades in perfect condition, cables are all good. What failed, in case you didn't see the last video, was this guy. I added an eye hook, and it was real skinny chintzy gauge, and it just it gave out. It bent backwards, and whatever gust was tugging on the cables finally let up, and it probably must have bounced out, and whoop, there she went. It went, straight down into the sticks. I actually had to lift it out of the sticks and dig the tail out of the dirt, but I got all the cables pulled back out. Probably a really dumb idea, but I'm going to attempt to get it back up by myself. I usually have a helper with this, but my two end cables are connected, so all I got to do is stand it up and it should stop, and I should be able to grab onto these cables, walk them around fast enough that it doesn't start to fall again, and get them hooked and tightened back up. So plan now to get this guy out of here, so I'll, whatever, I might have to grab a channel ox and yank that out, and then this is going back in, and I'll probably maybe try to center it a little bit better, but I guess, I'll go with the grain, whatever. But that's rated for 500 pounds. I looked back into this while I was at the store. This is rated for like 90 pounds or something like that, and that was quite a bit of force yanking on the tippy top of that turbine. The tower is only 25 foot tall, but it's, the blades are about 5.5 feet across, and when them are spinning, they create a wind wall in front of it and builds up pressure. So it's a small sail up there in the gust. So you gotta make sure your stuff is nice and sturdy. The rest of this is all good to go. I'm not worried about this stuff. This, I got landscaping stakes, like fence stakes, pounded in there. Those are 5-footers. Those are pounded right into the ground, and then they got the barbs on the bottom, so they grab on pretty darn good. And then I dug down 2 feet on all these and filled it in with cement. That one also. This one I'm going to stick with the tree trunk. That's a hardwood tree, and it's rooted in there pretty good. That's got absolutely zero movement. It was the cheap 75-cent hook that failed. I went with the $3 hook, and I think I shouldn't have any more issues. So we'll get this guy in, and then I'm gonna set up the camera, and we'll see if I can get this tower back up by myself. This will be interesting. All right, Well, that took a good deal of effort to get in. This came out no problem. Just cranked her out with that. Hammered that down a little bit so I could grab onto it with something. That I had to use 4-foot steel rod with both arms to crank all the way in. It's a good workout. I think it's in there. Pretty good. So I think it's good. And got relieved a little pressure on that strap, I guess, cable strap. It's a ratchet strap just for, you know, loading your truck and trailers and stuff, but it worked pretty well to run the cable in it. It was a little goofy getting the first roll or two on, but once it grabbed, and it made adjusting real easy. So I freed up my cables. I had to break a couple branches. I'm not going to be able to pull this one all the way outside of the tree. I am really hopeful when I start to stand it up, it just pulls it right out of here. We'll see how effortless it is. The turbine itself is not that heavy, you know, it's 40-50 pounds. There's definitely some weight to it. It's got good strong magnets, steel rotor, heavy bearings, and there's a fair deal of copper in there. It's got a pretty nice stator. It can definitely do what it is rated for, but at the end of a 25-foot pole, it's pretty hard to get it up the first couple of feet. As soon as it, you know, getting it from there to there is the hardest part. As it starts to get taller in the air, obviously most of the pressure is just going down on the fulcrum, and it gets lighter for me. So I already said this is just a really dumb idea to try and do this by myself, but I don't know. I think I'm kind of tough and pretty confident in my skills, and as long as those hooks don't slip up while I'm standing it up, everything should go well enough. Hopefully this is visible. I don't really have the right camera stand for this. Yeah, I think you should be able to see. Alright, wish me luck. Holy smokes. Well, I got it. I'm definitely leaning that way a little bit, which is up. I'll have to, I'm gonna have to tug and pull. I'll loosen them all up a little bit. I'll tighten that one up and loosen these guys and get it straightened back up at the top. And then I'll have to put my eyeball up it from the bottom and get my center plumb also, because it's what the hell is this, 2-inch, 1.5 ID 2-inch OD or 175 OD black pipe, couplers. It's amazingly strong, you know. He saw that thing bending. I was right on the joint and kept pushing. I usually have somebody pulling a cable while I stand this up, and it was a little hairy, but I got it. So yeah, I'll get her all plumbed off and we'll take one last peek at it. She's back up. Well, there she is. All 6 cables are reattached, and see how I did that? Just yanked the strap right out, and I had to run the cable in from the end, kind of put a kink in it, and then loosely coil up the first 2-3 coils, and then you could pull it tight and it would snug up on itself. And since then they haven't budged just a tiny little bit. So got her plumb and straight. There's, you know, a little bit of bend in the 25 foot, so that's the lower cables keep it from wobbling in the middle and really straightens it out. You know, there's only about 2.5–3 feet between cable rings and the top of the turbine, but it's still a hard gust can kind of flare that out just enough to belly out the middle of the pole, and I used to have a pretty big problem with that. You know, watching all this energy get shot down the pole and wiggling the thing around, and then it would start to wiggle, and then it would turn the turbine out of the wind. Adding the second set of cables definitely got me more power. Making the larger tail definitely got me more power. You know, I'm constantly fighting these big trees. Right now, they're both perfectly still. The air is slowly coming from that way, but this one gets blocked out completely from air in that direction. But yeah, I was able to get my main anchor down in the ground. It was just a real simple setup. I think I got a grade 9 hardened steel bolt on the bottom there from my pivot point. Just drilled a 5/8 hole through the pipe. I got this heavy steel bracketing going down 3 feet in the ground with threaded rod bolting it together in 3 different points through the holes there. Those holes go all the way down, and that, you know, keeps it from twisting and stuff. But I was amazed how much that actually did move with the amount of weight that's in there. You know, there's 5 or 6 80-pound bags of quickcrete on top of all that metal 3 feet into the ground. But when that turbine went down, slammed through the sticks into the ground. It sent a hell of a shock wave down to the access point. But here's these guys. Again, this is the one that failed. This was bent all the way backwards. I had to hammer it back down. And so I think this will do a little better. I'm even going to drag my welder out here and just run a bead around this, just to absolutely guarantee that this thing ain't going nowhere. But this was again a silly thing to attempt by myself, but I've actually done it before. It was a good day for it because there's just zero wind. Like, you can't see it from here. The dark spot on that pole is a wind speed meter and weather station, and it's not even moving a tiny bit. Completely still. There's pretty stagnant today. So perfect time to get a turbine in the air by yourself if that's all you got, and that's all you got some days. So anyhow, thanks for watching, and don't do what I do. You know, this system works great, but get a helper on one of the cables. All right, God bless, take care.